friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're here for another review. It is my goal to read and review 30 books in October. Today is the first of those hopefully 30 reviews. We're getting off to a bit of a late start, but I've been reading. So I have started some things, and so I'm poised to finish some things and share them with you. So I think we're actually right on track. But today we're here to talk about Apples Never Fall by Liane Moriarty, which is women's fiction. The author is from Australia. She's published now, I think, about 8 novels, and I've read all of them. She's one of the first, no, not first. She's one of the only authors that I have read all their works. And so every time she publishes another book, I eagerly snap it up because I want to keep that, to say that there's an author that I've read everything that she's published. I don't just read the books to complete a challenge. I read the books because I really enjoy Liane Moriarty's writing. She is the master of red herring writing. Her books are not necessarily thrillers. They're a little bit of a mystery. They're a little bit of a suspenseful, delightful jaunt through someone's life or a family's life. And she tells stories in short chapters, and each chapter is being written from someone else's viewpoint. We're seeing the story being told by different people as they kind of pick up where the story has been reported by the previous character and giving a little bit more information. So in this story, Apples Never Fall, we're reading about a family of 4 adult siblings and their parents. And the parents are now almost 70 years old. They've been married for about 50 years. They ran a very successful tennis coaching academy for most of their lives. And the 4 siblings, the 4 children, as they were growing up, they all played competitive tennis. They all were really good, but just never quite good enough to be like a champion. So they never went to the Australian Open. They never went to Wimbledon, even though that was their dream. But for all intents and purposes, the parents as coaches had other opportunities because they did have this one really good player who eventually left them. And they've never quite gotten over it. They've also been ruing the fact that their 4 children didn't quite make it either. So there's a little bit of a simmering tension in the family, and the children, the siblings are all really competitive. And then one day, well, 2 things happen. The first is that a young woman, she seems to have been coming out of the blue. She turns up on the parents' doorstep. She says she's been a victim of domestic violence. And the parents, you know, they're mired in this state of, we're retired, we don't know what to do with ourselves. And so they take in this woman. She seems like she's a project. And she moves in with them. And then they find out that she's not quite a stranger. And then a few months later, the mother to these 4 adult siblings, the mother disappears. And because if you've read or watched anything, when a woman disappears and is presumed dead, it's always the husband, right? So the husband is now their prime suspect, and there are 2 camps. Either you believe the husband did it, or you believe that he didn't. And so the children, the siblings, are now separated in their support of their father. And so Liane Moriarty is writing the story about this woman who's disappeared. But we are learning about her because we are reading from a little bit in the past to back when this young woman showed up, and the turmoil that just erupts with her presence, the jealousy, all the old issues that you think you left behind in your childhood, or you think you left behind decades ago because you're now focused on other things. All those things keep crashing back because here's this young woman who has taken up residence in your parents' house and is doing the things that you wanted to do but never did, the things that your parents wanted you to do but never did. And so there are all these family secrets, there are all these family issues that are coming back to a head, and then the mother disappears. And yeah, so the story is about a disappearance of a woman. It's about sibling rivalry, it's about sibling love, it's about family unity, it's about family secrets, it's about competitiveness and competition. It's a little bit about tennis. It's actually a lot about tennis, but you don't have to be a tennis fan to enjoy this story. It is delightful. It is, did I mention Liane Moriarty is the master at writing red herrings. I've read all her books. I only own one. I should have picked it up. The Husband's Secret, I think, is the one that I own. Big Little Lies is one of my favorites. You've heard about it. They made a mini-series, I think. I've never watched the adaptation. But yeah, so this story, she gives you all these different little snapshots of people from their lives, people from their community, each one of the siblings. Everybody's telling a little bit of their thoughts about what happened, why this woman has gone. You know, everybody's now looking at the husband and thinking about all these things in the 50 years of the marriage, 50 years of knowing these people. You know, can you really believe that this man would be so violent as to murder his wife? And do you have, you know, do you have security footage from your house that maybe showed something happening? Like, do you remember what happened at this point? It's a fantastically written story, and it addresses so many things but does them so beautifully. And what I really love about the layering that Liane Moriarty puts in her writing is that you get all these little interesting side stories. They're not distractions, even though they are, and you may be thinking that they're supposed to be distractions, but are they really? And then she keeps addressing them as you're moving through the story. The other thing that I really, really love about this book is that there is a possible explanation, or there could be a possible explanation for what happened to this woman, Joy. Except in the very first page, I think it may even have been a prologue, she explains why that explanation isn't going to go anywhere. And you keep returning to it, like, suppose it wasn't quite like that. Because, you know, over the course of the story, you get these little revelations that things weren't exactly what you thought they were. And these little people who keep coming back and popping up, like, you know, are they meaningful or aren't they? Are they red herrings? Are they distractions? Or are they going to be the key? And I love this book. I love her writing. Because this is a current book. Did I mention this is a new release? I don't yet have a copy. I don't yet have a physical copy. I read this as an e-copy from my library. Thank you so much to New York Public Library for not just, New York Public Library is fantastic. Let me just add this here as an aside. I'm going to talk about it in an upcoming video, but they just announced that they no longer charge fines, late fines on books or any kind of material that they lend out. So all the fines that people have owed have been wiped clean. I'm going to talk about this. But yeah, New York Public Library is awesome. And so I have this free e-copy from the library. But loving this book so much makes me want to do something that I said I wasn't going to do, because I am trying to lighten these shelves. Like you can see, I don't have room. Like things are getting double and triple and quadruple stacked. I just don't have room for the books. Like I finished reading those books last month and I don't have anywhere to put them. So I keep saying I'm going to just read books from the library and I'm not going to buy them. I used to do this thing where I'd read free copies of books and then I'd buy a copy from my library. Like, doesn't make sense. I can't store all the books that I love. I can't. But this makes me really want to reconsider that. I want to buy a copy of Apples Never Fall because I love this book. I want to put it here on my shelf and show it to you and talk about it constantly. So I loved it. It's also a really current book. It's it's written so that there's a section of the book that talks about the pandemic and the bushfires that were happening in Australia last year, and how they impacted people and how they're impacting what's going on in these people's lives, and the resolution, but also the lead up to the story. And I enjoy the immersion into current as well as past culture, and I loved it. I love Liane Moriarty's writing, and so I'm going to highly recommend that you check out this book. I am probably going to be talking about this again someplace else. I don't want to tell you anything else about the story. If you haven't read anything by Liane Moriarty, check out this one. Yeah, there's one of her books that is just not that great. It needed something. It's not her last release, but I think it's the one before. But in general, I love her writing, and I'm going to recommend that you check it out too. This is general fiction, so it has issues that will appeal, I think, to the general masses. If you like thrillers, you might like this book. If you like if you like thrillers, you like this book. If you like suspense or mystery, you like this book. If you like romance, you like this book. If you like literary fiction, where things are incorporated and operating at like a mid-level, and you're not really sure what kind of social construct this is going to be addressing and how it's leading up to it, then you'll still like this book. So I think that this is one of those books that just will appeal to everyone if you check it out. So Liane Moriarty, Apples Never Fall. She has the picture of 4 apples on the front, and it means something to the story, but it's also, of course, relating to the 4 siblings and how these siblings mirror how they mirror who their parents are. But it really shouldn't be 4, it should be 5 or 6, because all these apples, all these children are a reflection of their parents. But you will see that when you read the book. So read the book, and we'll be back hopefully tomorrow for another review, and I hope you check it out. Yeah, I'm trying to read a lot of books this month, and I'm going to be here to talk about them with you. I hope you'll stick around for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and we'll be back next time. So let's chat in the comments about this book or Liane Moriarty's writing, or if there's something in this video that makes you want to pick up this book, chat with me about it in the comments down below. So we'll chat down there, and until next time, happy reading. Bye.